Okay guys, welcome to this week's Friday Waffle. This is the very last one of 2016. Aye, it's been quite a year. I mean, on a personal point of view, it's been alright, I suppose. Yeah, the job wise, it's not been the greatest because I've still not got a permanent position, but that's by the by. But from a world perspective, it's been quite a roller coaster year. I'm not going to go into everything, but with the whole Brexit and Donald Trump and the terrorist stuff. Although interestingly, people were going about how bad a year it's been for terrorism, and I actually read a couple of reports and they're saying that there's actually been less terrorist attacks this year than there has been in many other years. But I think just because the nature of the ones that have happened this year and the fact that it's reported so widely, you always tend to think it's worse. Obviously, if you're on any social media, you can't escape the number of celebrity deaths. The thing is, people are talking about a curse. It's not a curse. People die. It's part of life. People are born, people die. We're all going to die. The people that have died, yeah, there's been a few sort of young people dying. I mean, the one for me, like George Michael, died just a couple of days ago, 53 years old. He's only 4 years older than me, and that's when it hits home, when somebody young like that dies. I know probably his kind of lifestyle didn't help, he was a drug addict and that kind of stuff. But aye, it says people die, and I mean, I think the thing for this year has been there's been so many really talented musicians and actors that have died. I mean, you've got your David Bowie. Lemmy actually died in December last year, but he's in that photo that you see of all the people. A lot of famous actors. I mean, you know what? My mind's gone completely blank. Carrie Fisher, amongst others. Loads and loads of really Leonard Cohen. A lot of really quality acts. So I think it just, when you look at them from that point of view, it does seem that this has been a bad year, and it probably has. There's probably been more celebrity deaths. Quality celebrity. I hate the word celebrity. Anyone that gets 5 minutes of fame on TV is classed as a celebrity. But people who are talented. But yeah, people seem to think that they're all saying, I wish 2016 would bugger off. But the thing is, we're then in a new year and people are going to continue to die. It's got nothing to do with 2016. It's just part of life. It's because the people that we all looked up to, that were idols of ours, whatever, call it what you want, they're all getting older now, and that's what happens. So, as far as this being a bad year, yeah, there's been a lot of not particularly pleasant things have happened this year. Will next year be any better? I don't know. It's not like it's a clean slate. It just ticks on. But anyway, enough of the humdrum, depressing stuff. I hope you had a nice Christmas. I had a really good time. Went to my in-laws for my Christmas dinner. Ate way too much. I'm off work. I don't go back till the 4th of January. I've just been chilling out, eating too much. I have been getting into running, so still doing that. I've been playing. What have I been playing? I've been playing some Left 4 Dead with my daughter. I didn't actually realise I've actually been paying, I think it's £6 a month for Xbox Live for my daughter, and I've got Xbox Live as well. So last night I was upstairs, she was downstairs playing a bit of Left 4 Dead. Really enjoying that. What else? I've been putting some more emulators on my Nvidia Shield Portable. Got to say, I love it. I know I had one before and I did sell it. I'm really getting into it in a big style, and I stand by it as the best way to play emulators on the move, and I absolutely mean that. And I'm not just saying that because I don't have a GPD anymore. I would say it is better than the GPD, hands down. But anyway, that's that. What did I get for my Christmas? I got this, which I've not actually used yet. It's not anything rude, by the way. This is called a Yeti microphone. Now apparently it's one of the best microphones you can get. My wife bought me this for my Christmas, a bleak birthday. It's super heavy. I mean, I don't know how heavy that is. It must be a couple of 2-3 kilograms. It's meant to be a really, really good microphone, which I'm going to be using for doing recording. Obviously, I can't use it for this because I'm using my phone, but certainly that's going to come into its own when I'm doing my sort of my blimey it's only. I'm going to be using that. It's meant to be really good. There's different settings, but I think it was actually Lactobacillus Prime that recommended the Yeti. So yeah, looking forward to using that. That was what I got for my Christmas, amongst other bits and pieces. What else did I get? Oh, up there, I may as well let you see it. Not actually played it yet. I also got this Super Mario 3DS. Now, I did own that in the Wii U, and I never really played it, but I was thinking to myself, it's probably because it's probably the best. It kind of lends itself well to being a handheld game, so looking forward to playing that. The other thing I got was Gears of War 4 for the Xbox One. Oh, bloody hell, you know what, it's no wonder I stick to old systems. I put the disc in, what day was it? Not yesterday, the day before, which would be, this is Friday. I put the disc in on Wednesday night. Wife had gone to bed, thought, have a game of Gears of War 4, put it in, and then it came up, there's a 21 gig install update. So I started installing it, and it was going as slow as anything, so I gave up. And then yesterday I put the Xbox on, started downloading the update, and then I went back to about an hour later and the Xbox had gone off. Apparently I had it set to go off after an hour. But the amount of faffing about it probably took, I don't know, I've got a really, really fast internet connection, but this thing took hours and hours and hours and hours. Eventually sussed out how to leave it, to stop it going off, powering off, and then I just let it download. But you know what, it just I can't be bothered with that kind of thing. I mean, you know, that's why I tend to play, you know, older games, because you can just pick them up and play them for 5 minutes. I think if you were, I dare say, if you were playing current generation stuff all the time, then you would always have your thing updated right enough. So somebody like myself, who doesn't play the current consoles that often, when you do switch it on, you're usually hit with a big lengthy update. But yeah, it was a pain in the ass. It took me about 2.5 days before I could actually get to play it. But I've got to say, wow, what a game. Really, really impressed with it. So that's been my kind of gaming. As I say, it's Hogmanay tonight. No, it's not Hogmanay tonight, it's Hogmanay tomorrow night. Now, I don't really do New Year. I did when I was younger. I think because for the last probably 20 odd years, I've always had like been married and like, the kids and that kind of stuff, and so I've never really had the opportunity to go out. But I think for me as well, as New Year, people go out and get drunk all the time. You can go out any night of the week. Whereas back in the 70s, that was the only time, Hogmanay was the only time a lot of people actually drank, and so it was quite special. But now you can do any day of the week. But I think because my mum and dad, I've lost both my mum and dad now, to me it's not a happy time. I actually get quite down in the dumps about it, because I think to myself, well, my mum and dad are both gone, you know, I miss them dearly. I think a lot of people are the same. Perhaps once my daughter's kind of growing up in a way, then me and my wife might start going out. I don't know, but I mean, tomorrow night I'll probably stay up. I'll get one bottle of beer possibly, maybe not even bother with one, and I'll watch the Jules Holland show for a short time and then go to my bed. But you know, that's that. Anything else? Yeah, I've just been chilling out. Had a really nice chilled out time. I've been trying to make a few videos over the last couple of days because I noticed I like to kind of have a few videos that I've already done that I can just upload, and as of a couple of days ago I had absolutely nothing there for uploading, so I thought I better do a few things. So I've got 3 or 4 videos done, ready to kind of put out next week. But anyway, let's get back on track. Oops, I daisy. Right, I tell you before I forget. Now, please don't take this the wrong way. Please don't think, oh bloody hell, this guy is so far up his own backside. It's not true. What was I looking at? I can't remember what I was looking at. Something got in my head. It was my Berserk mug. And I just thought to myself, would there be an interest if I was to... There's a website where you can basically get a mug or whatever it is, a mouse mat, and you can customise it. What I was thinking was, would there be anyone interested in buying a Meister mug? I'm thinking like the wee caricature would be me saying bollocks, something like that. If there's any interest in people buying a mug, what I'm going to say is any money that I get for it is going to be donated to charity. I would set up a Just Giving page. So if there's any interest at all in buying your own Meister mug, please let me know. I will set it up, but like I says, I'm not going to make a single penny. I give you my promise that any money that is made, it's going to go to charity, because I'm not interested in making anything out of it. But I just thought it might be a bit of a laugh. I mean, my daughter gets Dan and Phil stuff. They're one rather large YouTube channel, and the stuff that she has bought, she's got Dan and Phil mugs, calendars. She's got a jumper which came from another one of our YouTubers. I mean, these guys are making big money, but yeah, it's I don't expect anyone to be interested. But if you are interested, let me know. We'll come up with something. But like I says, any money that's made, it's going to go to charity. I'll probably give it to Macmillan Cancer, something like that. So let me know, guys. But right, I've got one question here, but I'm going to leave that to the end. I don't have any topics as such to talk about, but Dave Lawn Boys Post 1975, he came up with, he put out a really good Wednesday vlog, and it was basically the top 10 games that have inspired him, the most inspirational games that he's played, not necessarily the best, but the ones that really left a mark in him. And he was concentrating on arcade games. Rather than me do an arcade version of this, because where I lived in Livingston, central Scotland, I didn't get any real exposure to the arcades other than the very odd game in a service station or a chip shop, whatever. So I couldn't really name 10 arcade games as such that have influenced me. So what the list I've come up with here is 10 games that have, defined me as a person, defined my hobby. They're not necessarily my favourite games. I mean, Robotron 2084 is not in that list. They're just games that they're part of my life for a particular reason. So they're not in any, well, they are in order. They're in order of how old they are. The very first one's Space Invaders Arcade. Space Invaders was the second ever arcade game I ever set my eyes on. I saw a Pong machine a few years before that, which I looked at it and I thought, whatever, not interested in that. But our local sports centre got Space Invaders, and at that point I didn't know what it was. I just remember going up, getting dropped off from my dad to go to my judo lessons, and I just saw this big massive unit in the far corner with all these people crowded round, and there was this really sort of thuddy, bassy noise coming from it, and I thought, what on earth's that? And it turned out to be Space Invaders. and that was the first game that it just drew me in. I mean, I didn't actually get to play it that much because I never had any money, but I was absolutely mesmerised with this machine. It seemed so, I wouldn't say real, but here was this, space invaders were coming down to invade and you had to shoot them. It was a technology that I had never ever seen before. This was completely new to me, and it just opened the door to a hobby which has lasted 35 years. I'm still just as passionate about video games, down to seeing Space Invaders. So yeah, that's my number one. Number two, Pac-Man on Atari 2600. That's a game that's, people talk about it as one of, if there's the 10 worst video games of all time, many people, apart from E.T., include Atari 2600 Pac-Man. Now, I think that's quite unfair because I think it's actually not a bad version. Yeah, it could have been a lot better, but apparently the guy wrote it in something like 2 weeks. The reason it's special to me is because it was my I mean, I've mentioned this multiple times. My mate Nick, he had an Atari 2600 and he brought it up to my house, and this was the first time I had ever got to play a video game at home, and I just couldn't believe it. I mean, I'd seen Space Invaders in the arcade, but here was a machine that let me play Pac-Man in the house. It was just mind blowing. Here was Pac-Man on my TV. I just didn't realise that a TV could actually do that. TVs were for watching TV programmes. They weren't for playing video games. I didn't understand that a TV could do that. And to see Pac-Man, and yeah, it was a basic version, but we played it so much, and that game was probably the thing that opened my eyes to the fact that I could actually play video games at home. And I says that just led on to me getting a computer, and then obviously it never left me. That hobby stuck with me, and it will always be the game that really kicked things off for me. So yeah, that's number two. Number three, international soccer. I've got the game there actually. Let me go and see where it is. Where is it? Oh, there it's there. Yeah, this game here, international soccer. Now, it's actually on cartridge. I saw a review of this game. It was in Computer and Video Games. There it's here, international soccer on cartridge. I read a review of it in Computer and Video Games, and it looked absolutely incredible. I couldn't believe that something so realistic was possible on the Commodore 64. So I saved up my money. I had a wee part-time job at that point, and I rushed up to John Menzies and I bought it. It was £9.99, and I played that game. I probably played that game solid for about a year. I've actually got a diary that I kept in 1984, I think it was 1983, 1984, and every single day I played the game. I played it in the morning, I played it at night. I mean, I mastered the game. I could beat the hardest level, 10-0. But it was an incredible game. A friend at school, whoops, the dog's just knocked into the thing. Right, hurry up, where you go? A friend at school used to come up and we used to play it, and it was like so competitive. This was like a real sport, albeit on a computer. But I says I lost 1983, 1984. These years were lost with me with this game. I just played it so much. I thought it was well before its time. Even now, it still plays really well. Yep, it's no sensible soccer, it's no FIFA, whatever, but an absolutely amazing game. And it was a game that just drew me in like no other game I've ever played. So that's number three. Number four is another Commodore 64 game. It's Hustler, which is a very, very, very basic basic game. It's not written in basic, but it's a pool game, and it's the most basic game ever. The reason I've picked it is because the same mate that used to play the international soccer with me, he was a guy called Robert Davidson, and Robert, he wasn't, I wouldn't say he was a particularly nice person, but through this game we formed a bond. That he would come up to my house at maybe 10 o'clock at night, and we would sit up and we would play Hustler right through the night. We'd play maybe first 100 games, and it became a real sport to us. You know, we mastered it. We really got good at the game, and the competitiveness between us two was just incredible. Like I said, we weren't particularly pals, but the love of this game was what drew us together. Where is Robert now? I have no idea. I've not seen Robert probably since 1984. He may not even be alive now. I don't know. But Hustler, it just, for a period in my life, it brought two people together, and the competitiveness and the want to get better at this game was just incredible. It was a beautiful game. Yeah, looking at it now, it's bloody awful. It's diabolically bad. But back in 1983, 1984, it was part of my life for quite a long time. So yeah, that's number 4. Number 5, moving on from C64, was a game called Arkanoid, which you've probably heard of, and in particular, the Atari ST. The reason I picked that game is because I had an Atari, so I had a Commodore 64, and I was aware of the Atari ST. I didn't have the money to buy it, and then this one day, my mate Ian and I were out at the pub. It was a Friday night. We're out at the pub, and I was going to be staying at his house later on that night, and he told me that he had a massive surprise, and I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And he said, oh, you're not going to believe what I'm going to show you. So later on, we got back to his house, and went into his bedroom, and there was this Atari ST, and he had an Electron before that, and I couldn't believe that he had bought an Atari ST. You know, this thing was like £300. I had no way of buying it at that point. And he put a game on. There was 2 games. One was called Prohibition, which wasn't a particularly good game. Then he loaded up Arkanoid, and it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The graphics were arcade perfect. The sound was incredible. But the biggest thing that made this game was the control method. It wasn't a joystick. You could use a mouse to control this game, and it played absolutely gorgeous. It was a beautiful, beautiful game. And the reason I've picked this game as one of my defining games of my life is because it made me see just what the future held for computer games. I had gone from a Commodore 64, which was primarily blocky graphics with, albeit really good sound. I mean, the sound in the C64 was probably better than the ST, but the graphics on the C64 were blocky, very, very few colours. And here was a computer that just blew my mind. That absolutely blew my mind of what was capable, what was actually out there. This was the technology that we were going to get to use, and I was hooked. And needless to say, shortly after, I got my Atari ST, and one of the first games I got was Arkanoid. Yeah, before I forget, guys, you might have noticed something about me. Yep, these 2 little marks on my head. I wasn't fighting, nothing exciting like that. I was on a night out in Edinburgh on Tuesday, and I walked, this was before I started drinking, I walked to the railway station in Livingston, and I happened to be looking to the side. I was looking behind me to see if the train was coming, and rather foolishly I kept walking, and I walked into a lamppost. Yep, that was it. I actually walked into a lamppost. Cut myself there and there, obviously. It could have been so much worse. I'm an absolute twat. It was bleeding, but I says, you know, fortunately I've not got any bruising at all. I mean, once they dry up, it should hopefully be absolutely fine. But yeah, I walked into a lamppost. But I'm going to tell people that I was fighting. There was somebody getting a kick in, and I jumped in and chased a few of them off, gave them a few punches and whatever. But yeah, I walked into a lamppost. I could only have bettered it if I'd slipped on a banana skin as well. But yeah. So anyway, back to what I was talking about. The games that I've influenced had played the biggest part in my life. I was talking about Arkanoid and Atari ST. The next one is Tetris on the Game Boy. Now I bought Tetris, I bought the Game Boy on release, I think it was 1989. It came out 1989, 1990. I had just got married and I bought this thing. And this was just unbelievable. I mean, you need to understand, before the Game Boy came out, the only handhelds that you ever had were these little LCD Game & Watch type things, you know. There was nothing. The Game Boy was the first system which allowed you to change cartridges, and it came with this one called Tetris, which on paper looks like the most dull game ever. But what a game. What a game. Now, me and my ex, it's also interesting because it's the one computer game that I've ever known a girl to actually enjoy. Throughout my life, none of my girlfriends or ever my partners have ever been interested in computer games, but Tetris changed that. My wife at the time loved to play it. She used to play it all the time, and we used to compete against each other. Now, she was actually better at it than I am. She got the rocket, which you get, when you get to the end of, I can't remember, when you get to the end of the level, it's the end of, I don't know what it is it 100 lines? I think it is. If you get 100 lines, you get the rocket. Something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is. I've never ever got there. I was close to getting it a few times. My ex did get it. But why is it a big game for me? It's just a game. It says it was the first game, I says, that me and my partner played. We used to compete over it. We played it all the time. You know, you're in the toilet, you'd play Tetris. You're in your bed, you'd play Tetris. You could just sit. You could be sitting watching TV and playing Tetris. It's up there and as one of my. It definitely been my top 10 video games of all time. It's such a pure game. It's one of these games, and I did literally have dreams about playing Tetris. You know, in everyday life, you're constantly looking at shapes and turning it around, and you know, what's the best way to kind of line the blocks up. Just an epic game, big part of my life. Played it for many years, and I've actually started playing it again. It's still just as fresh and enjoyable as it was back in 1989, 1990, whatever it was. That's Tetris. Next one is Sensible Soccer on the Commodore Amiga. Now, it's probably not the most technically impressive game on the Amiga, but what made it so good was I originally played it as a demo. I think Amiga Power were giving away a demo of it, and again it looked shit. I thought this is going to be garbage. I loaded it up and I thought, whoa, this is pretty good. Now, I'm not a football fan, but I loved this game. The passion, the playability. I've never played a game as playable in all my life as Sensible Soccer. The guys, John Hare, Chris Yates, who wrote the game, I mean, they're gamers. They took the essence of a sports game and they turned it into a computer version that was so simple to play. And it got to a point that me and one of my mates, he used to come up to the house and we would play it till 2-3 in the morning. It was like, up for work in 8 hours, I need to go. We played it all the time. Just a fantastic game. I mean, I moved on to World of Sensible Soccer, which I played all the time as well. But there was even a guy at work. He used to play it, and what we used to do is we would take it in turns. We started a league, and we saved the league onto a disc, and then I would take the disc into him, he would take it away, he would play his games, save it, give it back to me, and so on. So we kind of like a kind of play by mail sensible soccer league, but it's just a phenomenal game. The amount of customization, you could change the team names, player names, wonderful, wonderful game. Like I said, I'm not a football fan, and it's the last football game that I've ever really played. I'm not interested in FIFA or any of these games at all. Just an absolute sublime game. I am looking forward to Sociable Soccer, which is John here. It's his latest football game. I think it's coming out February next year, so looking forward to that. Number 8 on my list of life defining games for me is Ridge Racer on the PlayStation. I had an Amiga at that point. No, I had a PC at that point. Then the PlayStation got released, and I bought one pretty much on launch. I got a couple of games. What did I get for it? I got Destruction Derby, and was it one? I can't remember what the other one was. Destruction Derby was nice. You know, I was pretty impressed with that, but it wasn't until I got Ridge Racer that it blew my mind. I keep saying, I saw a bird flying past there. It blew my mind as to what this thing was capable of. I had been used to playing pretty basic games in the PC, and yeah, I had a 3D graphics card, you know, which was all nice. But the thing is, with the PC, you're playing them on a 14-inch monitor, and here was a console that let me play an arcade game, which to my mind was arcade perfect. Yeah, looking at it, it's not arcade perfect. I was playing this Ridge Racer on I don't know what size of TV I had at that point, maybe a 26-inch TV. It was on a massive, massive screen, and it was the closest I've come to actually, like, I felt like I owned an arcade machine. It was just stunning, and this was the next level. You know, I'd gone through C64 to the 16-bit, the Atari ST, the Commodore Amiga, PC, boom, PlayStation, polygon graphics, sound, all on a big TV, just epic. I says it just, I couldn't believe. I was absolutely staggered. My jaw literally hit the floor when I started playing Ridge Racer, and I played it so much. I actually got quite proficient at it. Never completed the game. I mean, I got it into reverse courses and that kind of stuff, but loved it to bits. There was other versions came out. Was it Rage Racer and Ridge Racer 2? But none of them ever hit the same high that I got when I first played Ridge Racer on the PlayStation. So that's number 8. Number 9, it's a game on the Xbox 360, and I mentioned its successor earlier on. That's Gears of War. It was one of the first games I bought for the Xbox 360, and I was just staggered as to how good this game looked. I mean, I played it when I first got my Xbox 360. I didn't have an HD TV. It was just a standard 32-inch TV, so it was through component. And I bought Gears of War, and me and my mates, we used to take it in turns. We'd take turns to play it. It wasn't until I got my 42-inch plasma HD that I realised just how incredible this game actually looked. Even now, it still looks amazing. But the thing for me is, it was super playable. It was gory as anything. The details, the graphics, the sound, the whole experience of the game was just incredible. The icing on the cake was the online play. I'm not a big online player on the Xbox or whatever, but this was one game that I played a lot. Me and my mates, there would be me and 7 mates. We'd get together. I knew them all in real life. We'd get together online. We'd divvy it up into 2 teams, and you'd play one another. 2 teams, 1 team against others, and it was just incredible. Running about, talking to each other with the headsets, just an absolutely incredible experience. And again, this was, you know, my video games life had just leveled up. It had gone up another level from, you know, the PlayStation and up to the Xbox 360. just absolutely wicked game. And I'm really enjoying Gears of War 4. It's a phenomenal game as well. It still retains the same playability, the carnage, and it's quite an easy game to play as well. So that's number 9. And the very last game, which it was a big impact on me, and it was on the PlayStation 3, which was kind of the same generation as Xbox 360, and that was The Last of Us, which is a kind of an on rails shootery type third person. Basically, you're surviving the zombie apocalypse. But what makes the game so special is it was one of the first games that genuinely pulls you in on an emotional level. You know, you get to know. I mean, I'm not going to spoil it, but the start of the game is there's a big kick in the guts at the very start of the game. It sets the scene for the game, but as the game progresses, the relationship between the characters starts to grow and evolve, and it's, there's a few moments in the game where it's just like, you can't believe just what's happened, and I says it really draws you in on an emotional scale. I mean, it's the first. I mean, we've now got the technology where we can play a game that does engage you on an emotional level. It's hard to get, too wrapped up playing a game on a C64, but playing a game on like an Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, it's got the graphical ability to do that. And Last of Us, I wouldn't say it's like a cliched phrase, but I wouldn't say it's so much a video game. It's more an experience. It's a game everybody has to play. It's a beautiful game. There was subsequent extra levels came out which I've played, and my daughter, she sat with me and watched me play through it, and she was the same. She really connected with the game. Beautiful game, and there is a sequel in the works which I think is going to be coming out in the PlayStation 4, which I really look forward to getting. So that is it, guys. That is the 10 games that has really defined me as a person. It's been the defining moments of my video game hobby, for a number of reasons. Like I said, they're not my favourite games, but they're just games that they made a big impact on me as a person. So yeah, anyway, right, listen, I've only got one last thing to do, and that is question time. I've only got the one question. I guess everybody else is too busy eating mince pies and drinking mulled wine and whatever. Mr. Down the Rabbit Hole, Kev, for the Friday Waffle. Hi, Alan. It appears Super Mario Run on the iPhone has not been much of a success. Sales are not what Nintendo expected. iPhone users are apparently not thrilled with the price tag, and handheld game reviewers say it's just not a good Mario game. One reviewer described it as playing a bootleg Mario title and not the real thing. Do you think this spoiled result means no more Nintendo games on iPhone? How would you have handled it differently if you were in charge? Zelda instead. I've downloaded it, Kev, for my iPad, and had a wee shot of it. You know what? I can understand why iPhone users aren't happy with having to pay for it, because the problem with mobile gaming is it's kind of cheapened games. People want games, people expect games for free, or for at the very most 69 pence. And so when I don't know how much it is to buy, is it £6.99, something like that? When somebody's asking £6.99, £7.99, whatever it costs, they're just not prepared to pay that, because they're used to getting games for free. Yep, you've got to, you can buy in-app purchases, but at the end of the day, you can still technically play lots of games on your iPad or your iPhone, your Android, whatever it is, for free or very, very little money. So when you're asking somebody to pay £6, £7, whatever it is, it's a bit of a big ask. I have had one brief shot of the game, and it's not any better than any of these other running games that you can play. I think Nintendo have been, I wouldn't say they've been cheeky, but they've basically taken a basic game which already exists, which you can get for probably free, and all I've done is tag on the Mario graphics, the Mario levels, or not levels, I've tagged on the graphics, that's about it. The environments. It doesn't mean that it's a Nintendo game. I mean, Mario games are some of the best games ever written. That they, some of them would say that's the best. The Mario 3 Super Mario 3 is one of the best games ever, because of the depth, the various attributes. You've got different sort of weapons, and you can fly, and you can throw fireballs, and all that kind of stuff. But then you tag on Mario into a very basic game like Mario Run, and it is a basic game. People just don't really get it. So I think it's been a bit of not a cop out. It's been, I don't know. I think Nintendo they were obviously hoping that it was going to sell a lot, make a lot of money, but people are, it's such a saturated market with these kind of games. Something's got to be pretty special, especially if you're going to ask for 7, 8 quid, 6, 7, 8 pounds, whatever it costs. So I think Nintendo have been slightly naive, thinking just because it's got Mario in it that people are going to rush out and play it. Sorry, I thought the thing had stopped recording there. Yeah, so I think it's kind of backfired. I think Nintendo thought they could make a bit of cash, take a basic run and jump game, whatever it's called. Is it Rock Jetpack something? There's a game similar, Jetpack, and it's excellent. And Nintendo thought, well, let's stick in Mario graphics and it will sell by the bucket load. Well, obviously that's not worked. I think they could do worse than release sort of proper games for other devices, but given Nintendo are still primarily a hardware developer, that's not going to happen. They've obviously they had massive success with Pokemon. Well, apparently they didn't actually own the Pokemon game, it was some other company. They had massive success with that, and they've obviously thought, well, let's give it a go, we can make even more money, and it's not worked. People expect more from a Nintendo game, and I don't think Nintendo are prepared to start putting Mario 64 or whatever it is, Mario games, onto an Android device. That's not going to happen. They want people to go and buy the 3DS to play that. So I don't think that's going to change. So yeah, anyway. But anyway, listen, Kev, thanks very much for the question. But listen, guys, just before I go, that's me finished. I hope you all have a very, very happy new year, and I look forward to seeing you all next year. And as usual, thank you for all your wonderful support. As usual, thank you very much for watching.